coffee chat time. So if we were having coffee today, well, David is leaving to go to Georgetown, South Carolina for the rest of this week. And the rest of this week, starting tomorrow morning, I am going to be taking Maria and Selena to lots of different appointments throughout the week. From Maria's checkup to something else to something else to she has an appointment with Victor's teacher on Thursday. She has her 2-week checkup tomorrow morning. Miss Selena is 2 weeks old today. So I thought, since it's going to be a really busy week, I'd go ahead and get started. I was going to do the coffee chat yesterday, but we had some other things to do because David's going to Georgetown, and I have done the interview with David, the Q&A with David, and that will be going up probably tomorrow. I'm going to edit it this evening, and then I'm going to most likely edit a portion of this video, or I already have a video to go up on YouTube, so I may just go ahead and put that one up. But anyway, I'm at the point now where I feel like instead of trying to catch up, how about let's just get some quality content done, and let's not worry so much about what I haven't gotten done, and let's worry about what I can get done and do what I can do. So one of the things I want to talk about, if we're having coffee today, and I am having coffee, and you might want to grab you a cup of something, because this is going to be a bit of a chatty video. Some of the mistakes I've made with bullet journaling, planning, journaling, it could be any of those, but right now I'm going to gear it more towards bullet journaling, and as we proceed through things, then I'm going to get to some of the mistakes that I've made. Some of these are the same mistakes, some of them aren't. So one of the biggest mistakes I made was trying to choose between form and function. I started out with I was reading Ryder Carroll's The Bullet Journal Method, and over the past few years I've done this back and forth because I thought, well, I'm concentrating so much on the spreads and the art in the spreads, and I was so filled with, a bit of anxiety, a bit of awe, like, oh my gosh, some of these people have the most beautiful spreads you've ever seen, and they look so picture perfect. That after a while, when I was doing some of that, it felt more like the performance, like Ryder talks about in his book. But then when I would try to go minimalist, where it's all function, I was so the bullet journal felt so heavy. It bogged me down. It made me feel suffocated, and I felt like I didn't even want to touch it. It was so completely boring to me, and it just did not work without some kind of creativity. So I think the key to what finally really stuck for me was making it work for me. Doing whatever it is that works for you. And some days it's more function. Other days it's a combination of the two. I just add bits and pieces of my day throughout the day in my bullet journal and it's become a personal practice, and it's a personal creative and productivity practice. I'll get that out. It is a productivity tool. It's also a creative tool. It's also a personal tool. And I think that it's important to remember you have to do you. So the next thing is the monthly to-do list. I've been messing around with that thing for like a long while. And I don't like the word to-do because my monthly list has a lot more than just to-dos on it. And we'll get to that because that happens with the dailies as well. And I had to figure out, I was like, okay, is this really necessary, this to-do list? And for a while, it felt like it became nothing but a to-do list. And then my daily pages became nothing but to-do lists. So it's all these tasks. And it wasn't really what was work. It didn't work because then I'm pressuring myself to get all these things done, and there's no way that I could possibly get all of those things done in a day. So then when I'm migrating things, I feel like a failure. When I don't get things done, I feel like a failure. So I'm feeling like a failure constantly. And the monthly page just made me go, okay, well, I had all these plans, had all these goals, had all these things I was going to do, and I didn't get but half of them done. So instead of congratulating myself and give myself a pat on the back when I did get half of those things done, I was feeling all guilty and pressured and stressed out over not getting some of the things done. The monthly list is necessary, but it doesn't have to be a to-do list. It's a rolling log of things for your month. So to me, it's now become my notes to self page. And my notes to self page tells me sometime over this month, let's say sometime over the month of, I'll actually look at, because I'm in the process of filling out my monthly notes to self list for September. Sometime over the month of September, in the very beginning, by the 10th, we're going to cancel HBO from Hulu. We've enjoyed watching some of the movies and stuff like that, but David had wanted to watch the Game of Thrones, but he doesn't have time, and it's just costing quite a bit more money every month that we really don't need to spend, because we have some other things that are much more important. So we're canceling quite a few things. One of the other things I want to do is get some kind of flower, because my dad's birthday is the 4th. I want to get some flowers. I think our tree, and I want to plant said flowers or tree. I want to get identical, or maybe get flowers for my mom to put out where we spread my dad's ashes, and then I think I want to get a tree for my yard, David and I's yard. Our wedding anniversary is on the 8th, and we will have been married 7 years. And I either want to get David a card or make David a card. Get him a card, but I think I'm actually going to make him something DIY. He loves those, and I think I might actually do. I've done that before, quite a few other times for different holidays, and I think I might make him an anniversary card. Put some art and a poem or something. So, like, some of these are things that, yes, I want to do, or that are to-dos, but I also have some other things, and I have like a little post-it note, and I'm written down some things that I want to research. I've written down some things that I need to kind of go back over and do, because I really, and I've said this over and over again, but I've been studying some things, and I really want to get back into blogging. But I've seen some of these blogs that look like nothing but an advertisement, and you have to wade through so much of the advertising to get to what you want to actually read, and I don't want my blog like that. I am okay with like some of the Amazon affiliate links or a little bit of advertising on my blog, but I don't want my blog to look like this. I can't stand that. So anyway, so I've been kind of looking at some things before I actually get back into this. I really want to get back into I used to be a blogger. I used to blog every day before I was on WordPress, and I loved it before I got on YouTube. That's what I did. I blogged every day. So that's something that is really important to me. The other, I think it's really important that you have some kind of rolling log for things, so that if you get an idea, and it isn't like something that is, if you get an idea and you know that you want to do it during this month, but you don't know what week or what day or anything, that's what your monthly log is for. That list, not the log. The log is, but it, you know what I'm saying. I just don't like calling it a to-do list, because it's more than to-dos. So I think one of the other things that I've been making a mistake of is, in the beginning, when I read the book a few times, I did a mental inventory quite a few times, but I haven't been doing the mental inventory every month. I've been doing some kind of hybrid sort of pin seed brain dump kind of thing. And then I was beating myself up because I wasn't doing what Ryder Carroll had in his book as the mental inventory. But I think your mental inventory can be different. I don't think you have to do exactly what he says. I think you have to find out and figure out what works for you. And once I started getting into the habit of doing my mental inventory every month, and I do a small one every week, and then I do a smaller one every day, or I'm doing this mental inventory, I'm sort of doing a little bit of a pensieve, a little bit of a review, a little bit of a brain spill, brain dump, whatever people want to call it. But it's getting my thoughts out about how things are working, and all of the thoughts that are in my head, things that aren't working, things that are working, things I want to do, things that I want to change, things that I like but know I can improve on. And so I've been doing that now much more on a regular basis, even when I don't do stuff every single day in the bullet journal. And that's one of the other things, pressuring myself to do something every single day. If I have a day where it's all about family, I may not have anything on there because I'm going to be rolling with what everybody else is doing. So other than the little to-do of go to so-and-so's house, on my daily page, I'm not going to put get up, take a shower, brush my teeth, get dressed, go to so-and-so's house, and then at night I'm going to have wash my face, brush my teeth. You know, I'm not going to, that would be because all the in-between is not going to be planned out. It's going to be rolling with what everybody else is doing. And like when we go to my mom's, we spend the day at my mom's. If I have stuff to do before we leave and stuff to do after we get back, then I have a page for it. But other than that, if we're at my mom's super early and we don't come back until super late in the evening, there's no point for me, because I mean, unless something comes up when we get back in the evening and I'm like, oh, okay, so I might do like a little pensieve write a little bit about it, put a little note, do a little bit of journaling for that day instead of like a daily page for the bullet journal. And sometimes that's what my pages look like if there's that kind of stuff going on. So now we're to the daily pages, and before we get to the daily pages, we're going to talk a minute about the weekly pages. I've been wondering if the weekly pages are really necessary. And to me, the weekly pages, I was making these spread things, and I did that for this week. And as I started looking at it, I was like, it's not really working the way that I'm doing it. I think I'm going to have what would be called the log to the left, and then I'm going to have the list, my notes to self to the right for the weekly, and then in the little corner I'll have something if I need it. This week it would maybe be habit tracking, but I have goals listed. But I just don't think that how I've been doing the weekly is really working for me. I had it sort of set up like the Hoganing 2 weeks, and in some ways it works, but in other ways it feels too prefab. It doesn't feel like I have any room to breathe on that page. It doesn't feel like I have any room for what I really need. And like I have the way that used to work for me was sort of a rolling weekly, where if like I had things I knew I needed to do for that week, but I didn't have a specific day during the week to do them. So, and then that has sort of evolved into that to-do list over to the right. And now that I've been changing things to notes to self, it feels like I either don't need the weekly at all, or I just need like a notes to self page for the weekly, or but I, use my calendar and my monthly log and my monthly notes to self. And do I really need a weekly? I'm not sure that the weekly is necessary. That's one of the things I've been evaluating now, doing like a mental inventory on before I actually do a weekly spread for September. I don't know that it's really necessary. And that's something I'm debating on. I may not use a weekly spread in September. But if I do, I know I have to change it to something that really works for me. So the dailies. I think one of the big mistakes that people make is that they have to have this enclosed little space for dailies. And Ryder Carroll says use one whole page. Have the space. Take the space. Don't close yourself in. Have that room to breathe. So I think take whatever amount of space that you need for your daily. If it's one page, then great. But I think it's important to allow yourself that room to grow throughout the day. And I'm not, I pre-set up September, but I don't pre-set up my daily pages or anything. However much space I use in the journal, that's however much, and I start a new page. Now, not everybody wants to start a new page, but I do. Some people, if they have enough room, if there's a lot of room, they'll write the next day right underneath wherever they stopped. And if you're not adding any other stuff to your bullet journal, I think that works. If that works great for you, then I think it works great for you. If I weren't adding any kind of creativity, if I weren't using my bullet journal as sort of an everything journal, I think that then I would probably do that. But I am putting everything in this journal for the most part. So I think that's how I do. Let's see. So this is one of the things. This was very much a family day. So you see some of the to-do stuff up here, and I'm migrating because I didn't get to all of it. You see a little bit more of this and some notes. And then you see the baby. And then you see journaling. Because what happened is it ended up being a family day. After the very early morning, I ended up taking a nap. Dave and I both were exhausted when he came home, and we ended up taking a nap. And then after we woke up from the nap, that was the day that Maria and the baby came home from the hospital. And so I had some stuff I had to do to get everything ready, because I have on and off until Victor started school, had Victor. So we had a lot of things going on, and David and I both needed to sleep because he had gotten off work and he was exhausted. I hadn't slept well the night before, and I'd woken up when David came home. So I went to bed with him and went to sleep. I took a nap. So actually I woke up and then slept in, went back to bed. And then I got up and I had all these family things, and the baby came home, and my daughter and the baby came home from the hospital. And then on the next page I have the notes about developing your creative practice. And then we get to Saturday, and David brought me Starbucks. He took Kayla to college that day, and when he came home, he brought me Starbucks. And then we watched Aquaman. We both really enjoyed it, and I finally put the thing from my new keyboard into my journal. And I want to do a bit of a, once I can kind of get things a little bit more organized, I'm working on it bit by bit, is do an actual video and then a blog post about my film setup. And I need to get my film setup back up for when I'm actually filming long videos where I use my camera. So I think that's my daily pages have more than just tasks on them. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about right now. Pressuring ourselves to do a bunch of things. In the bullet journal method, the system has, the bullets are tasks, notes, events, and then there are some others. And you make your own little key. You can change. You don't have to use writers. You can change it up a little bit if you want to. But one of the things, it's not just tasks. There are notes and events, and that notes part is those notes are bits of you. They're bits of your thoughts, your ideas, your questions, your answers. They're they're important, because if you just naturally, just kind of organically put them down throughout the day, and you can go back in and put whatever little bullets you need depending on what it is, or if you know ahead of time, if you know right before you write it down, well, this is something I need to work on, so this is a note, or this is a future note, or this is a question. I think so much of my time was spent filling it up with tasks, and I ended up with so much to do, looking at the page, and I didn't make and that's not what it's about. The daily pages are not just a to-do list. If you take the time, even if it's a second, 30 seconds, to write down a note or a question or a thought or an idea or whatever about something that's going on in your mind, then it becomes this release. So you can't keep all that stuff in your head. And if you put those things down like that in your daily page, then it becomes a release. And I've started doing more in that. And I've talked about how I've had issues with daily logging, with rapid logging for the dailies and rapid logging for the monthly. I'm finally getting better at it, because I'm not looking at it anymore as this major to-do list. So now, as my ADHD self goes, oh, wait a minute, I got this idea, and I write it down. And now I've gotten to the point where I'm carrying my bullet journal around with me all the time, or I'm putting it in my phone to add to my bullet journal later. So although the app for the bullet journal method is not as, it doesn't have as much stuff as I wish it had, I think it has just enough stuff for me, because as y'all know, I'm not a real big digital person. I'm not. I would love to be more technically suave, more up with the times, but I'm not. So for me, the simplicity of the app works well, because I almost always have my phone with me. Now that, especially, Victor's back in school and Maria's got the baby, I'll have it with me. And what happens is, like, I can go through, and I've done my reflection this morning, I can go through to the log, and then I can put a little, like, if I'm in the kitchen and I'm doing some stuff, I can dry my hands, put a little note or task or an event. If Maria messages me, this is Mom, I've got this appointment, or Victor's got this thing, I can put it in there, and then when I come back to the living room, or to here, or to my bedroom, wherever it is, then I can add it to my bullet journal. And that helps. And it is just, I mean, it's perfect for what I'm doing. So then we're getting towards the end. I don't do a whole lot of setup in advance. I counted and gave myself some extra pages so that I could go ahead and do September setup, because I'm doing this content creation. So if I wait till the last minute to do it, then it's going to take even longer for me to get the video up. So there are some things, but I don't, like, the night before I'll set up the next day's page. On Saturday or Sunday I'll set up the weekly. Right now I'm not sure that I'm going to do weekly. I think I might do weekly, but I think I'm going to change up how I do weekly so that it's more beneficial to me, so that it really works well for me. I'm not doing a whole bunch of advanced setup, and I'm okay with that. I've thought about, whenever this one finishes, do I want to put, like, the monthly calendars in the front, like how the Hobonichi set up this, like, sort of like the Hobonichi, but then I have unlimited daily, like, so I could set up the monthly and the weekly, but then I don't do as well when I'm flipping back and forth. I like having everything, like, right together. So that's, like, probably not going to happen. I like the Hobonichi for some things, the way that it's set up. And I've tried doing the Fobonichi, where I've done the exact Hobonichi setup before, where I did the monthly and the weekly, and then all the rest of it were, But I'm liking how this is working. There are some things I'm still working on. So one of the other things is making mistakes. And this has to do whether it's a bullet journal or a journal or whatever it is you're doing. It could be anything really in life. mistakes equal learning opportunities. And I know there are some people who cover up all their mistakes or who do not show any of their mistakes on social media. I make mistakes on a daily basis. And sometimes I can work through and cover them up, and other times I can't, or I have to really work at covering it up. And there are some mistakes that I just don't even worry about, and I just keep on. I just roll through, you know? But they are learning opportunities. I realized when I did this page, I really probably should have put it over to the side so that I had room to write more down in my notes to self list. And if I could take that sticker off and then re-glue it and put it down, I would. But I can't. I tried. But I'm not going to say anything bad about people who don't show any of their mistakes on social media. But I will say that the more of us who actually show that we make mistakes, who show that our pages aren't perfect, who show that we have to learn, or maybe we had to redo something, or you know, the more other people are going to be like, okay, so I'm not the only one. You know, it takes a while sometimes to improve your handwriting. And if you don't have great handwriting, and it's not important to you, then you don't need to worry about it. I mean, it's not a mistake to have your handwriting the way that you have your handwriting. My son has really messy handwriting, and I don't think my son is ever going to work on his handwriting. My daughter has really pretty handwriting. She writes really small, and my handwriting is rather large, and sometimes looks pretty and sometimes doesn't. And if I worried about how my handwriting looked on every single page, I would have so many pages covered up or cut out or whatever that there would be no point in me having the journal, because it would fall apart from all of that. So I think the important thing for me is remembering that it's my journal, and I have to make the journal work for me. And some days I can concentrate on my handwriting and my lettering and my drawing, and other days I don't worry about it. It's a busy, productive day, and I have a lot of things going on and a lot of family stuff, and I have a lot of eggs in a basket, and I'm trying to juggle them. And the last thing I want to do is go, you know what, this list does not look very good because it's just nothing but bad handwriting and this and that and the other, and what am I thinking? You know, what am I doing? So I think the important thing for me to remember is that they're not my pages aren't perfect. Some things turn out better than others, you know, and it's okay. It's okay. I think the Pinterest and the Instagram and all of these where people are showing these, they only show the picture perfect pages. For a lot of us, that it doesn't show what is realistic. And I'm not dissing them. I mean, they have to work hard. Some people have to work really hard to get that. But we do, every single one of us, all of us make mistakes. And it's not realistic for any of us to look at somebody else's finished pages and go, oh God, my pages never look like that. Well, you don't know how much time and effort that they spent into doing that, how many pages they had to cut out or throw away, or how many bullet journals they have, so that what you're seeing is the end result after hard work. You know, I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I know I don't do that. I mean, I may correct some mistakes with Posca paint pen, or the correction tape, or even putting something over the page. But 9 times out of 10, if it's just a little mistake, I don't worry about it. I mean, I don't know. I keep wanting to look at where I wrote September and white that out and then redo it. But I'm not going to. I think it's important that it's just, this is me and this is my page. And sometimes the things turn out great and sometimes they don't. And I'm being too self-critical. I'm my own worst critic. And I know that. So I'm just going to leave it alone. So the last thing I want to talk about is what your purpose is with your journal. Whether it's a bullet journal or an art journal or document your life, a sketchbook, anything, whatever it is, what's your purpose with it? Is your purpose to have this perfect, aesthetically pleasing journal, or is your purpose productivity? Is your purpose to get out some of your creativity and be productive? Is it sort of a hybrid? And if it is, I mean, you know, to me, taking a bunch of extra time to redo something because it didn't turn out perfect is not being productive. I don't have time to do that on a regular basis. I don't have time to do that every now and again. Every once in a while I will do it if it's horrible. If I really mess it up, I will take another piece of paper and cover it up. Or take some art and cover it up. To be honest, this for today, I didn't make any mistake. This is just blank under here, but I wanted this in here. It's an envelope, and I have some of the things I've been collecting in here. Some of the things I wanted to put in the journal and haven't been able to, either, you know, so I put them in that envelope. And I will continue to put little things in there until it gets too bulky, and then I'll get another envelope that came with something, and I'll put it in there. After I do sometimes a spread, then I'll go, oh, you could have done something so much better. And I guess, and I'm debating, do I want to start doing some of these things with pencil first? Because I was doing pencil, then I quit, and I'm like, no, pen, just be me, just have fun, just be creative, let loose, be, you know, and now I'm like, maybe I should use the pencil. And I don't like second guessing myself like that. So, I think what I'm going to do is, if there's something that I know ahead of time, maybe I need to kind of figure out a little bit better way to put it in there. I'll kind of draw things out with a pencil, and then so I know where to put things. But I'm really having a lot of fun drawing with a pen and making mistakes and learning from them, even though it does fill me with a bit of anxiety. And that's it. As far as like the bullet journal goes, and I've talked a bit about the journaling, because I'm doing everything for the most part in this one book. I'm gonna have a sketchbook. I really wish I could go to Georgetown with David this week. That's where my granddaddy, my paternal grandfather is from. All those people are from. But I can't have mom and Mimi duty this week. So I would love to have taken some pictures and stuff like that. But anyway, maybe next time. But what I've been thinking about as far as my journal goes is that whenever I do things like this week, when I go places with Maria, or whenever I went places with David, or I went like with him to Rome, Georgia, or I spent the day with my mom. So let's see, one of the things that I did, I'm not finished with it, is Sunday we went to my mom's and we picked up the swing. So I'm going to draw the swing. And then after we got back, we had Victor with us, so we got pizza. We enjoyed ourselves. We took pizza over to their house, and we brought the swing back, and we were starved. But anyway, so we had, after then we went to I did this backwards. We had pizza on Saturday, and I've gotten this messed up. We had pizza on Saturday because I picked up Victor. We had pizza, and then we took Victor home with us. And then when we went to my mom's Sunday morning. We took Victor with us. We picked up the swing, and then we took Victor in the swing to his house and I got to spend some time with the baby. And I had gotten to spend some time with the baby on Saturday too. And now I'm at, and see, this is the weekly spread for this week. So I have all these appointments listed, and I have some home things that I want to do and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go. I've gotten some of the things done that I wanted to do today so far. I still have a lot of other things I need to do. I have a video I need to add a voiceover to for YouTube. And other than that, I think, no, I did that. I just have to upload it. And I meant to upload it yesterday, but, you know. So, I didn't want to upload that to YouTube and then not do your coffee chat. I think that's what it was. Because I was so tired yesterday. So, and we had to get all this stuff ready for David to go to Georgetown. So, anyway, that's it. I'm going to edit the interview with David, the Q&A with Mr. Rockstar, and get it up for y'all this week. And I have some journaling I want to do. And then I'm going to show you how, I think in a video for the $7 tier, how I actually plan my day or my week, because I kind of want to do that weekly spread. I want to figure that out. So, and I think for the $7 tier, I'm going to figure out, that might be the video where I show you what I've decided to do with the weekly. And I then, for the $15 tier, have some journaling I want to do, which includes watercolor and some pictures and maybe some collage bits too, because I have some fill-in stuff I need to do. And I'm excited because I'm kind of wrapping my head around some of the things I want to do. I also have Sketch Notes book to review. That book is really good. It is easy to read and follow. And he talks about doodling, and he talks about your art level. You know, you can do stick figures. It's not like... Sketch Notes is not about being artistic with the doodling. It's about getting notes down and using visual representation along with words. I will do a more in-depth. I'm actually going to do a review of the book, and I think y'all will get the preview for it for YouTube. And that way I don't have to interfere with your regular videos for that. And I will see y'all. Bye. Have a good one.